Hey y'all, it's Bailey and welcome back to the channel for what is going to be a video all about the 2016 duds I came across. I talked about doing this video recently in my favorites video, and then I also have a drugstore favorites tutorial up as well. So if duds aren't your thing, you want to know all about the things that I loved in 2016, that video I will link. You can either click the eye up here and all those videos will pop up, or you can click the link in the description below. But this video is about the products that I was just less than excited about. I'm trying something new with the lighting. I never have those lit back there, but it's kind of throwing my tones off. I'm very yellow, very warm. We'll see if I can take it on editing, but I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let's just go ahead and get started. First up is a dud that came in at the tail end of 2016, so you probably recognize it because I just did a video review on it. It's the new Milani Spotlight Face and Eye Strobe palette. Mine is in the shade Sunlight. I believe this is the lightest of 3 palettes that they made. Basically, it is an all-in-one highlighter, bronzer, facial contour type palette. You get 3 shades in here, and I just didn't find that mine was that pigmented both in color and in highlight intensity. I really want like a strong glow, and this didn't do it for me, but it might be an inconsistency thing because quite a few of you anyways in the comment section of that video said that not only had you had the opposite experience, but other YouTubers had had the opposite experience as well. So I need to look a little bit more into that, but regardless, this exact product was a no-go for me. It's not one that I, based on my experience with this alone, would not recommend this to anyone. And a couple of you had said you experienced the same thing, so maybe it's just an inconsistency thing. But I had to give it a mention regardless. Next up is an eyeliner. The brand sent me this. I used it in a tutorial and then a couple of times off camera, and I just could not get it to work for me, and so I set it aside and forgot to talk about it, whether I loved it or hated it. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Sculpt Liquid Eyeliner in the shade Black. I don't know if there are any other shades. And basically what makes this such a dud is this ball tip. I don't know why they decided to include, I think it was supposed to be for graphic design, so maybe this thicker tip could help you dot. But when it comes to creating this ultra thin, precise winged liner, the ball tip is majorly standing in your way. It's just really hard to not only get a precise wing out at the end, no matter how big, even if it's from a little flick to a massive wing, hard to get a precise line. And then I also noticed that as I was drawing even on the middle of my eyelid, which tends to be the easiest part of liner for me, it would kind of skip and drag, and I could never get that boundary of that eyeliner boundary even. It always looked like it just kind of skipped a little bit as it was applying. So the fluid flows really nicely from it. Like, it hasn't dried out yet. I've had it for a couple months. It's just the shape of this felt tip is bizarre and impractical to me, so that alone made it a dud, unfortunately. Next up is a product that I actually really liked until the packaging crapped out on me. This is a brow pencil called Go Brow Brow Sculpting Auto Pencil from, I think it's Ruby Kisses. It just says RK, but I bought quite a few things from Ruby Kisses and reviewed a few of them here in a duper dud. This is one that I was hoping to do a duper dud on with the Hourglass because, well, I don't know why I'm doing this, it doesn't work. But it has a triangle shaped pencil, much like the Hourglass, and now at this point a couple of brow pencils do, but at the time that I bought this, only the Hourglass I was aware of anyway had this triangle brow point, and then on the other end it had the spoolie here. The product itself is really nice. It's kind of waxy, so it not only fills in your brows, but it sets them in place so they don't move around. You don't necessarily need a brow gel if your brows are generally pretty tame as is. Overall, great product at a bargain price, but I don't know when this happened. Like, I'm not super rough on it. I've traveled with it a few times, but I mean, it's a pencil. It's pretty durable, and no matter how much I twist up, it doesn't come out. Like, I don't know what's wrong with it. So that was the last I could use of the product. I can't love a product that I can't use. Next up is a product that I actually came to reevaluate throughout the year as I was going through the stuff that I tried in 2016 that stuck out to me. I came across this and I thought, I don't think I gave it awful reviews when I hauled it. I did a Sephora VIB haul where I talked through it, and kind of like I do in all my hauls, I'd given my thoughts based on a solid amount of experience that I'd had with it. And I didn't say it was stellar, but looking back on it, for as much as this is and for as small as the shadows are and everything, it really should have been more of a standout palette than it was. And I go back and look at like the UV powders or whatever, the silver and gold, they're very sparse. You know, I get that they can transform your shadows, but they're not very pigmented unless you foil them. And then there were some dud matte shades, specifically this deep matte brown here, and then you had to worry about the shimmer because both of these are split pan, one shimmer, one matte. You had to worry about muddying the mattes with the shimmers, and I don't know, just in hindsight, I don't know if I was in a good mood when I made that video, but for as much as this is and for as the kind of quality that I would expect from a brand like at an Estee Edit price point, I just don't know why I thought this was as good as it was, because I truly have not. I maybe reached for it 2 to 3 times after that video in the few months that I've had it, and so I just had to revisit it and say, this is kind of a dud for me. Has that ever happened to you where you look back on something that you bought and you like, when you, I don't know if it was the hype about it or something, but you got it, you were like, you know, this isn't everything I thought it was, but it's okay, we'll get through it, and then some time goes by and you're like, what was I thinking? This is not that great. I don't know, let me know if that's happened to you. Up next is a palette that I mentioned in my palette recommendation tag. Again, I will click the I or the link in the description below. Mentioned it there, but I don't know that I've ever come out and included this in a duds video, so I want to be crystal clear about it here. The Revlon Not Just Nudes palette is not for me. It's not the worst palette I've ever encountered, but the pigmentation is kind of shoddy. You can't really depend on all of them being uniformly pigmented, and even though it is a drugstore palette, so you're not breaking the bank to kind of test in this guy, there are at this point a ton of great eyeshadow palettes you can get, like the CoverGirl. Oh, I actually have them right here. These CoverGirl palettes, the Jewels, they also have a couple of very nude neutral palettes, and then the Milani Everyday Eyes, or just this whole collection of palettes. These are phenomenal and just as fairly priced, but you can count on all shadows being consistently top performers. Not so much with this guy, I would skip this over. Next up is a setting powder. I recently did a video kind of running through my top, not even top, just going through setting powders, loose setting powders to be specific, including my favorites, some that I have tried but aren't great for me but I recommend to other people, and then some that I just couldn't see working for anyone. That's this guy. There was really just the one powder, spoiler alert. It's this one, it's the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder, and this could very well just be a product that didn't work for me because in the comment section of that video, a couple of you had nothing but good things to say about it. You kind of chalked it up to difference in skin type. You know, it works for more mature skin, drier skin, things like that. But I tried using this every which way, from the way they recommended it, which is like warming it up in your hands, then pressing it into the skin, applying it with a brush, applying it with a beauty blender. I think I tried it all, folks, and it always looked like I was wearing, very apparently, a powder that gave a white cast. In photos, it gave the worst flashback. It's just, and those are kind of the things that made me think that it wasn't really good for any skin type, but thankfully, you guys in the comments let me know. It does work for some of you. It might just be a skin type thing, but me and this powder, we were not good friends in 2016. So I will be giving this to somebody else who maybe can get some good out of it because it doesn't like me. The last product is another powder, not a setting powder though. It's just called a glistening brightening powder from Jouer. And let me just read the back. This says, this is a lightweight luminous loose powder that instantly brightens and enhances the complexion with soft opalescent glistening light reflective pigments. And it has all these ingredients to calm and soothe skin, perfect for all skin types and skin tones. But the reason I haven't talked, I don't think I've talked about this ever on this channel, is because I used it and I was kind of underwhelmed with how it performed. Like, yeah, it kind of transformed my foundation with a glow, but not really. And then when I really put forth the effort to test it like I do with all the products, I took a closer look and I'm like, my skin looks like a friggin' disco ball because the shimmer in here, hopefully you can see in a close-up, but there's like distinct shimmery glitter in here. It's like someone just took some fine shimmer and just right in my face. I don't know. And I've done everything from apply it all over my face, even with combo skin. I mean, it didn't make me look super oily, but as a powder, it didn't help take away any excess oil or any, not that you could tell because it's shimmery. And I wouldn't wear it as a highlighter because it's so sparse. I like a nice uniform kind of opalescent or, you know, really finely milled shimmer for a highlight. And so this is just so sparse, I would never use it selectively as a highlight. I just don't know how to use it to make it really work best, if at all, for me. So if it could just be a preference thing. If it is, let me know in the comments below. If this is like your ride or die powder of sorts, let me know what you use it for, why you like it so much in the comments. It'll help me, it'll help everybody else, because I don't get it. And those are all of my duds of 2016. I don't feel like I had a whole lot, but this year especially, I felt like I was better about consistently making, you know, products that didn't work for me videos throughout the year, so check those out. I will link those once again down below. But besides that, I'd love to hear the products that didn't work for you in the comments. Go check out one of the videos where I'm talking about my favorite products of 2016 and let me know there what you loved in the last year. But no matter what, thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.